Hi, I'm Gary Allen from John Preston. I just want to have a chat to you today just about the Thera Trainer. The Thera Trainer, we look after this for Northern Ireland, and we also look after this for Scotland as well. It's an active passive trainer, which basically means that the machine does so much of the work for you. As you can see, there's nothing at the front, so it's easy to access. So you can bring in a wheelchair or a standard sort of dining room chair. This exercises lower and upper limb. So now we're going to go through the actual how you do that and actually get one of the colleagues actually into it to actually show you how it works. So as mentioned, you haven't got to have a wheelchair to be using this. For example, it could be a stroke patient who is actually quite sort of semi-ambulant, but actually just needs some help in terms of exercise and rehab. So it can just be something like a high back chair or a standing dining room chair, and literally you can see how easy the transfer is. The client sits into the chair, so I'll just demonstrate, and they literally just pull the chair just in front. There's no transferring, and then just put the feet just straight into the foot shoes. The second option, obviously, for a client who's in a wheelchair, who's in a power chair, that's really what this was made for originally. So literally the client can wheel in, put the brakes on, feet are on the foot plate. You've also got on the side of here, you've got anti-tippers. So these actually connect to the wheelchair and actually bolt to the wheelchair to actually stop the wheelchair tipping back. Now obviously some clients aren't going to need that, but some clients do, and it's a very important facility for the clients who do. In terms of power chairs, obviously power chairs tend to be that little bit higher up, so we also do height adjusters for this, so we can actually increase the height of the Thera Trainer if that's an issue for power chairs. So now we're going on to how you actually use the machine. So if you want to come and have a look at the screen, it's very, very simple. So what you've got on the screen, you've got resistance. So at the moment it's sitting as 0, and obviously you can increase that up to 15. You've got spasm alert. So if the actual machine recognizes the spasm in the legs, it actually slows the machine down by 5 RPM. Or in the settings, we can actually set it so that when you get a spasm, it actually goes into reverse. This screen here, this flicks between different screens. So there's actually games built into this as well. This is the speed, so automatically the machine presets at 10 RPM, but you can increase that RPM or you can reduce the RPM. This is your forwards or backwards, so obviously the opposite exercise to work opposite muscles. And then this button here, if you actually have a look at the foot plates now, if we press start, this actually moves the foot plates around, which actually makes the transferring a lot easier to get into. So you put one foot in and then move the actual foot plates around to actually put the other foot into. The great thing in terms of these foot plates is you've got what they call foot fixings. So these actually come down on like a ratchet system and actually hold the foot in place. You can also use straps as well, but straps mean that the client can't do it themselves and someone else has got to get under the actual foot plates to actually put the straps in place. You've got calf supports, which are adjustable in terms of height, so you can move those up and down and they come around the calf. So you're supporting the calf and you're supporting the foot. The great thing with this particular machine as well is that you've actually got a depth adjustable crank, so you can move the foot plates backwards and forwards. So you can use it for someone very short, at the same time you can use it for someone very tall, or you can use it for children as well as use it for adults, which is the great sort of facility on there. Obviously just be careful just not to overstretch the leg, but obviously we'd normally assess on that. In terms of upper limb exercise, so when we're using the lower limb, we have these arms on there. And the reason being is so these arms are flat, they don't get in the way and they're not going to hit the knees, all right? But when we want to do upper exercise, we take the feet out, then we take these hand grips off, which literally just slide off very, very easily. Then we actually, there's a little button just underneath, just here. So you just twist that, and now the actual arms are free flowing. Whereas when that's actually locked, they actually lock in place and won't move, all right? So then there's loads of different facilities we can do with this. We've got a height adjustable stem. We've got a depth adjustable stem, so we can bring it closer or we can bring it sort of further away. Now for someone who doesn't need any support on the hands, these are the hand grips that you'd use. So yet again, these just clip straight in. And then those are ready to go. So now if we wanted to use that, if we just press the start button just on the screen, and we just choose hands, you'll see the machine is doing 10 RPM without you having to do anything. But obviously you can put as much effort into it, and then you can actually see the RPM increasing, and then you can increase the resistance, and you can actually go back into a backward motion rather than a forward motion, exactly the same as the hands. But what about for the clients who actually need more support? So then there's two other options. So we've either got hand supports. So these, if you've never seen these before, the hand goes into the glove. It comes around the hand, so it's like that, and velcros back in place. The hand goes on to the actual grip, underneath, and then loops through and comes back. So now if I press start and I choose hands, the machine will go around and it'll hold my hand in place. But what about for the clients who need more support than that? So then the third option is to actually swap over completely to a different type of hand grip. So we take these ones off, and these ones go on. So in essence, they like gutters, which I'm sure everyone will be familiar with that term. So then the actual hand goes in, and the arm goes into place, and actually we're holding on to there. Now there's various different versions of these done in different sizes, but you sort of get the idea. And if we press start now, then the machine will hold my hand and go all the way around. Now there is adjustments, obviously if you're quite long, you can actually depth adjust this, you can make this longer or make it shorter. You can also actually change the angle of it, and you can see that it's actually free flowing, it moves slightly, so that it's not sort of putting too much pressure onto the shoulder or onto the arm. Sam's come and joined me, one of our colleagues who runs the showroom for us, just to actually demonstrate how the actual Thera Trainer works. So we'll start with the lower leg exercise. So Sam, as you see, is just in a standard carver chair, high back chair, orthopedic chair, whatever you want to call it. We're not going to worry about the actual anti-tippers with this. If you were putting anti-tippers onto this type of chair, you'd just connect it to the highest point if there's a crossbar in the middle. But as I say, we won't worry about this at this moment in time. So if we want to get the lower exercise, we'll do Sam's left leg first. So if you want to just come round, if Sam just pops your foot just in here for us. So this is how easy the foot fixings are. So we literally just push down. And what I would always say is, so there is probably where you think. I'd always go one more than what you think. So these are always really spongy, made of PU material. So it's not going to hurt, but it's just to actually keep the leg in place. And then the second support is the calf support. So this is just coming round. Get this just to the right height. So bring that up just a little bit higher. And then this just goes around the leg and just velcros just in place. So that's just holding the leg. Now, if Sam just presses the easy access button that we've just seen just previously, so just presses that and presses start, the leg will spin around. So now this foot plate is lower, so it's a lot easier to get this one into. Now, Sam could actually do this herself. Now, Sam, if you lean down, so just push that down, as I say, and just push it just one further than what you think, and then just put that strap just around your leg. And then that just velcros in place. Okay, so now we've got Sam into the machine, so now we're going to start the exercise. So Sam's all in, hands are on the hand grips, so we know all that's okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to press the start button. So we'll get everything down, so everything's at 0. We press the start button, and it's asking, do we want to exercise the hands, or do we want to exercise the feet, or upper and lower limb? So we press the feet. So if Sam doesn't do anything, the machine starts at 5 RPM, and then very quickly, within a few seconds, goes up to 10 RPM. So this is Sam doing absolutely nothing. If you look at the foot plates there, the machine is moving the legs around. So even someone who's got 0 ability can actually use this machine actually just to get the actual blood flowing and get the legs moving. Now, if Sam starts putting some effort into it now, then we'll see that the RPM massively jumps up. So Sam's up to 50, 60 RPM. Now this is the really interesting part, is the actual percentages come up on the screen. So it shows what we do on the right leg versus what we do on the left leg. Now it does tend to take a little bit of time just to settle down, and it depends obviously how we're positioned into the chair. As you can see at the minute, Sam's 75% on the right leg, 26% on the left leg. But automatically, this tells the brain I need to work the opposite side of the leg, and that's the great thing with it. The other thing you can have, if you press the start button again, it actually shows you a rolling road. And if you keep the actual handlebars right in the middle, then you're going exactly straight. But then it also becomes a bit of a game. So these bollards start coming to you. So now you need to pedal right over to the right-hand side to avoid that bollard. And then in a minute, there'll be a bollard on the right-hand side. And if you avoid all the bollards and you pedal right and you pedal left, that means you've done exactly 50-50 on each leg. You've got resistance, so if we find that too easy, we can increase the resistance. So at the minute, Sam's going 80 RPM, which is far too quick. So if we put the resistance up to say 8, that'll be a lot harder to pedal, and that'll start to slow us down. We've got spasm alert on there. Now, obviously for Sam, that's not going to be applicable. For a lot of clients, it is. So if we actually recognize a spasm, the machine actually slows down or goes into reverse, as mentioned earlier. Time-wise, the machine pre-programs at 15 minutes. So what the manufacturers recommend is that you do sort of maximum 15 minutes twice a day, or if you're doing it once a day, do 20 minutes. So obviously you can increase or resist the actual, increase or reduce the actual amount of time. If we press this button now, what you'll actually see, so if you have a look just from the side there, if we press this button, the whole machine will slow down, and then it's going to go into an opposite direction. So rather than going front ways, the machine, so Sam's actually fighting against it going in that direction, so that's why it's come up with spasm. But now the machine will try and go the opposite direction. And then lastly, if we press stop completely, then it comes up with a report like it's done there. So what it's telling us is duration 2 minutes 17, activity was 79%, activity on the left leg was 51%, activity on the right leg was 49%, so nearly exactly 50-50. No one's ever generally 50-50, I'm 55-45 to the right. And then it tells you the distance. So we've done 0.7 kilometers, tells you how many spasms we've had. Calories, you can ignore these last parts. It doesn't obviously know the weight of the client who's going into, so the calories is just an approximation. So now we're just going to go through just the upper arm exercise. So Sam is going to help us with that. So we've got the standard hand grips on. So we've removed the previous ones that are used with the legs. We've undone the buttons. So now if you just demonstrate, Sam, the free flowing, the actual hands are free flowing. So now if we go into the upper arm exercise, we press start and then we choose hands. And then same again, the machine's going to start at 10 RPM. So if you don't do anything, just put your hands on there, the machine will do 10 RPM. And now Sam's putting effort into this, so we're up to 60, 50, 40 RPM. Unfortunately with the hands, because it's not like the feet, you haven't got pressure going through it, it can't tell us exact percentages what you do on your right arm versus what you do on your left arm. But if you've got a nice green smile in the middle, it means you're going in a nice smooth motion. If you've got an orange screen, it means you're going in an erratic motion. So if you keep it nice and green, and what a lot of people do on the upper arm exercise is they literally push the screen out of the way and they watch Coronation Street just while they're doing it. But exactly the same as the previous one, we can increase resistance, it's got a spasm alert, we can increase times, we can go into reverse mode. So same again, if we press that one, Sam, that's going to stop going forwards, and then it's going to go into the opposite way. So now we're going into reverse mode. So as you can see, Sam's hands are going backwards rather than going forwards, which is working the opposite muscles in the arm. Yet again, we've got a nice green screen on there, so we're doing it in a nice smooth motion. And then in a second, once we've done more than a minute in terms of exercise, if we press the stop button now, it firstly comes up and says pause, do you want to stop? And then the second, if you press it there, it gives you a report. So we've done 1 minute and 1 second, activity was 85%, but you can see the difference versus the legs. It doesn't tell you the percentages on the left arm versus the right arm because it's unable to do that, but it does tell you what distance you've gone. So people tend to sort of plot this, graphic of what distance they're actually doing and increase that distance over a period of time. For clients who need additional support when it comes to the hand cycling side of things, we do gloves or mitts. So the way these work, so I'll just show just on Sam. So we get the hand, and this collar part is really coming up to your wrist. Now we're velcroing that in. Now it does have to be relatively tight. So we've got the hand there, and then we're putting the hand on here. Now you could put it on either way, you could put it on the side, but I always tend to find it works best here. We're getting the thumb underneath to actually create the grip, and then we're coming right over, and then this velcros in place to actually keep the hand in place. Then if we press start there now and choose hands, you'll see that'll actually hold the hand in place for you as it's going around. And then for clients who need additional support, we've got gutters for the hand support. So yet again, we've got Sam's left arm in one gutter, but just to show you how you'd actually fit that. So Sam, if you just want to just bring your hand forward, just hold onto the grip. But if you notice on the side here, we can move these backwards and forwards. So if we need it slightly less or we need it slightly more, we can change that. Put these on, hold the actual arms in place, something to hold on to. You could even use a glove here to actually hold the grip as well. Yet again, we press start, we choose hands, and then the machine's going to go around and actually hold the hands in place. But if you actually notice what happens here, these actually move, so it's actually not overstraining the arm or fixing the arm in sort of one position, so it allows that better flexion. Okay, so that's the Thera Trainer demo completed. I'd just like to thank you, Sam, just for coming and giving us a hand there, and for Claire for taking the video. There are various different models of these. So the Thera Trainer, there's 8 different models. This is the top of the range one, which is ideal for a therapy centre because it comes with all these accessories, because the foot plates are depth adjustable. However, for someone at home, they might not need all these facilities. They might only need the upper arm exercise, or they might only need the lower limb exercise. And all those models are available, so there's every configuration done to actually suit each client. The Mobi 540 is very clever. That's a machine that works for legs and for arms, and you literally lift it up onto the table, but it's a proper German built active passive machine. So in essence, this machine just a little bit smaller, and obviously a little bit sort of more compact in terms of accessories available. But any questions, my email address will be on the end of the video. Feel free to give me an email and ask any questions, and obviously we're always here to help. Right, thanks a lot, see you again, cheers, bye.